another episode of Same Page. We're your hosts, Sarah Semajust.
And I'm Léonard Semajust.
Today we have two very special guests with us. We have Bobby Milord and Patrice Milord. I'm hoping I'm saying your names correctly. Okay. We actually met them through a hashtag. It's very crazy, but we met them through Instagram back in the day, or like maybe even just a few months ago, where I reached out to them and we ended up having a lot in common. We both live in Ottawa, and we'll dive into a few things that kind of connect us. So without further ado, I'll just ask you guys to introduce yourselves.
Hi again, my name is Patrice Milord. I was born in Montreal but grew up in Ottawa. My parents came to Canada 50 years ago through Montreal, and then when I was young I moved to Ottawa. I have three beautiful girls and an amazing wife. My oldest is 15. I have a 10-year-old and an 8-year-old. And they're my motivation, like to build generational wealth, to succeed in life. And that's pretty much me in a nutshell.
Hi, I'm Bobby. He pretty much said it all, but I'm his wife. And I think we make a good, we're a good couple in the sense that we build together. We do almost everything together. Whenever we're not together, somebody's like, Where's Pat? So there's that expectation that we should always be together. But I think, we have the same goals. We work towards the same goals, and we want to show our daughters, that the sky's the limit.
Okay.
Good stuff. So how did your real estate journey kind of begin to try and build that generational wealth?
Well, it started with us buying our first single family home in 2007. It wasn't the property we wanted, but we just want to get our foot into the real estate.
Yes.
But we bought it with the intent of moving back to Ottawa because we bought it in Gatineau. We had lived in the west end of Ottawa. We loved it. But when we saw the property, we're like, wow, this is a beautiful property. And then we just bought the property with the intent of selling it a few years later to get some equity, take the money, and just buy another piece of real estate. We ended up not being able to sell the property. First of all, that was our first real estate mistake. We paid too much for the property. We didn't really do a market, like a research to do the comparables and do a better sense in terms of how much we could get for the property. And then there is a difference between the Ottawa and the Quebec side. Properties appreciate faster on the Ottawa side, whereas Quebec takes a bit, especially where it is located, it wasn't appreciating enough. So then our friend told us, why don't you rent the property? Because they saw us struggle, because we really wanted to move back to Ottawa. And he told us, why don't you rent the property? And we're like, really? Like, who would pay? Who's going to rent a house? Why don't they just buy the house? And then he said, you should rent it for like $1,600 or $1,700. I'm like, who's going to pay for that? Like, But we actually did. We took the leap of faith. We put it up for rent, and we had multiple offers of people looking to rent our property. So that's where we moved back to Ottawa, and we purchased our principal residence here in Canada.
Very nice.
That's so interesting because sometimes I think our limiting beliefs stop us from doing something, and it's so not the reality, right?
Yeah.
So here you are thinking, who's gonna rent this? But then, you move out and there's multiple offers to do that, right? So sometimes it's just a mindset that we have to shift, and things just happen.
It comes down to education.
Yeah.
When you have no idea, you don't know any better, right?
Exactly.
And I still remember truly believing that nobody rents a single family home. And once we started looking, we were shocked. What?
And if you think about it, like, who rents a single family home? Anybody like us who can't qualify a mortgage, right? Like, who has children or whatnot, they want a bigger space, they don't want a condo. And I could argue that with the condo fees, you might pay the same for a single family, for a single family home. So that may be like a better way to something to rent that's a little bit bigger, right? Thanks for sharing that. And I'm very glad that you just took the first step, because oftentimes what we see is that people are scared to take that first step into real estate and they overthink it, right? And one thing that we've noticed is that the real estate business is, at least when you purchase, it's very forgiving in a sense that when you purchase a whatever, even if you make mistakes, typically it appreciates enough that you're like, okay, you can sell it for a little bit more, or you can withdraw your money. And I don't know if you want to share sort of like what happened to the duplex.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, something similar happened to us where we overpaid.
Yeah, like so we definitely overpaid. We didn't do the whole market analysis as the same way that we do right now. Now, mind you, it's hard to cash flow in Ottawa. Most people are very aware of that. But when we went to purchase the place, we wanted something that was turnkey. When you get something that's turnkey, obviously you tend to pay a bit more.
Yeah.
But we didn't do the analysis as far as we factored in the property taxes, we factored in the insurance and the utilities. Like that's pretty basic. But we forgot all the contingencies. So a true cash flow calculation, you need to have the contingencies. And for those people who don't know, like the contingencies involves you have vacancy, you have capital expenditures, you have property management, and you have your capital reserve. And then that usually, depending on the markets, could be anywhere between 20 and 25%, of the rent revenue that you have to consider and make sure you have those pots of money. So we definitely overpaid, but at the same time, because the market was so hot, so 1 year after, we are kind of looking for our next property to purchase. Initially, we were going to look at our primary residence to refinance, and there wasn't that much equity in the property. Then we looked at Sarah's condo. Once again, not that much equity in there. Then our mortgage broker was like, well, how about your duplex? And I'm like, well, but we just bought it. But surprisingly enough, within that 1 year period, and because of the market, we were able to refinance it and find enough equity in that property to pull out.
For the next.
And we ended up doing like an indirect burr.
Yes, yeah, without knowing the strategy. You're burring. I mean, some people would argue if you do a year later, it's not really a burr because you have to do it, I guess, sooner, maybe within 6 months. But for us, it was just great, right? We pulled out all the money and then it allowed us to purchase more.
Wow.
One thing that you mentioned, Bobby, is that you guys do everything together, right? I want to know, has it always been like this, or did you guys grow to work together? Because sometimes I find that it's something that happens organically in a couple, or is that something that, from the get-go, you guys wanted to sort of be in business together?
I think it grew.
Okay.
I think we did most of the things together. But, initially we were, both working. We had our first daughter. So getting into business, even when we bought the first house, we didn't even see it as a business.
Right.
We just saw it as, we have another house and, eventually we'll sell it.
Right.
We weren't even in that mindset of being owners and landlords.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it's about a few years ago that we really took real estate as a business.
Right.
So it was just another house that we were responsible for. And we tried to get rid of it several times. So we weren't in that mindset at all. We had so many issues with that house. We had good things too, but we had so many issues with that house that we just wanted to get rid of it. So we didn't see it as a business at all. And just like you were saying, we overpaid, and once we rented it, we weren't cash flowing at all.
There you go.
So we didn't have the education.
Even people told us, don't make a profit. You can't be positive cash flowing because you're going to pay too much taxes. And for us, we didn't know anything about it. So we're like, okay, yeah, we're gonna maintain it as a negative cash flow. That way we wouldn't be paying taxes. But then thinking back, we're like, what the hell were we thinking?
Yeah.
You have to be careful who you listen to.
Absolutely. So what was that shift for you guys as far as from changing from, I guess, being like retail investors to actually being more more active real estate investors.
And that education part.
Yes.
It more started with investing in ourselves, like personal development. I attended this event. It's called Millionaire Mind Intensive. It's a 3-day weekend, and it kind of blew our minds. And I remember my wife sending me the link to the event, and she's like, "We're going," and I'm like, "Sure, yeah," because I'm into this stuff anyway. So, but it was an amazing event. It just blew your mind because for us, growing up, it's like coming from the Haitian family, Haitian culture, go to school because my dad was extremely good at school, go to university, which we did, get the government job, be secure, and then retire when you're like 65, and that's where you start living.
Yeah.
But then when we attended that event, we're like, oh my God, we can invest in real estate, we can invest in stocks, or there's like multiple opportunities. So that's where the first light bulb switched on for us at that event.
Yeah, I think once you learn, I call it drink the Kool-Aid. It's like you see a totally different life than you were taught growing up, right? And you're just wondering, I can do that, right? And I think I remember myself, learning about these things, and that's only a year ago, approximately. And when I say these things like real estate investing and things like that, but then I'm like, but can I be a millionaire, or can I own that many properties? Will people lend me money? And all that self-doubt. And to tell the truth, I started looking for couples who looked like me, right? Who were investing in real estate. So one of the reasons why, when I reached out to you guys, I'm like, oh my goodness, another Black couple in Ottawa investing in real estate. And I remember you saying that you had multiple properties, and I was like, how? We must do this, right? And I think when you have a different mindset, the sky is literally the beginning, right? And even when we purchased the triplex, I was like, why would this lady sell it to us, over anybody else? Or just these two young, this young couple, and she actually told us, like, I feel like we're selling it to friends. Wow. And I was like, oh my goodness, like this thing actually works, right? Yeah. So I wanna ask you, so you go to this event, right? You learn about real estate, but like what inspired you? Like what's your why? Why are you doing this? You could invest in stocks, you can invest in so many things, and why do you want to achieve generational wealth?
That's because for us, again, in our culture, like it's not something we're taught. It's like, again, get the job, the good pension, but we want to build generational wealth, like not only for myself but my kids and future generations. It's something that, and we felt like real estate was the vehicle that would get us there. So, and not only that, it's something that you can not only learn from it, but pass it on to other people to help the community. Because I felt like this is something that's lacking in our community to get that education. So it's something that I also want to give back and teach people. Hey, there's another way to do things here, not like what you were told when you were young.
Exactly, and basically what we were told is like either you're going to be a doctor,
a lawyer,
and then or some type of professional, but definitely like school based. So how do you guys manage having 3 kids and your real estate business? How do you juggle that?
There's not always a balance. I'm not gonna pretend that, sometimes we're stressed, sometimes, we kind of feel bad. Like, whenever we go see a property, we don't bring the kids, obviously, and especially now with COVID. And they'll be like, where are you going? And, we're gonna visit a house. Usually if it's in town, it's not a big deal, but sometimes we go to Cornwall or Smith Falls, so it's a little further. And sometimes they're like, oh, again? But they know at the same time that's what we do.
Right.
And, it's for them, but they got used to it.
Okay.
So, but of course, sometimes there's no balance. I'm not going to pretend that everything is peachy all the time. Like, listen, I have to do this. And sometimes we sit down with them and we kind of explain to them, initially when we would visit a house, they're like, are we going to move there? Like, no, we rent it to people. And, so they're still young, but they're slowly getting it. And sometimes, especially me, are you gonna buy the house? No, we're not gonna buy every single building we see.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's really important for them to somewhat be involved, maybe just see you walk around houses and even asking questions like, are you going to buy the house? Are we going to move there?
Yeah.
And you can start explaining, no, we're going to buy it, rent it to other people.
Exactly.
Even though they're young, it's really good for them to see that there's another way than, what you typically hear, like, go to school, get a good education, get your career and whatnot.
Exactly.
So that's awesome. That's awesome.
And because when our first venture into real estate wasn't the best, we made so many mistakes, like bad tenants. Oh my God. Lots of mistakes. There's one
for like a year.
house was vacant for a year.
Yeah.
We've invested $40,000 to do a secondary dwelling unit in the basement.
Okay.
But we didn't contact the city, so we didn't get the proper permits, and it wasn't permitted in that area.
Okay.
So we made a lot of mistakes.
Yes.
So we had initially real estate left a sour taste in our mouths, but once we invested more in ourselves, we got some mentoring from Bruce Firestone.
Yes.
He's the former owner of the Senators, and then Alfonso Quadra. Like, they just opened our eyes to see, well, this can work, and you just need to invest in yourself. Follow what others have done before you. You learn from their mistakes, and that's going to help you grow. So everything that happened with that rental property, which we still have, is all a learning experience for us. I know it sucked in the beginning. I poured a lot of my money there, but it's I wouldn't take it away. Like, it's good experience, and it's something that I can help others avoid those same mistakes as we did.
We learned.
The hard way.
Yeah.
So you guys brought up modeling, which is one of the strategies that people use to learn. Do you have any other tips for people that would be who are interested in starting in real estate investing that based on your experience that you want to give them?
I think the key is personal development. Like, you learn so much things like sales, negotiations, confidence, and all those skills are key in all aspects of business, and especially in real estate. So that's something that was extremely key for us. Constantly investing in ourselves, going to workshops, listening to podcasts, reading. I used to hate reading. It's unbelievable, but it's really paying off. Sometimes you don't see the results right away, but over time, like, people see you grow. And then when you're faced with a new situation, you're like, oh, I've seen this before. So you have the confidence now to tackle it.
Yeah. And if you didn't see that situation, is to have the people around you that did have that experience that can help you. And I'm not going to say just one person, because we have many coaches, and sometimes we'll be faced with a situation and we'll ask their opinion, and they'll come with different solutions.
Right.
So it's really having people around you that are better than you, who went through it. But education is key, definitely.
Yeah. Somebody told us, actually, one of videos, that you should have a coach that's like maybe 1 or 2 years ahead of you. So not necessarily have, let's say a billionaire and you're just starting out, then that could be very discouraging, because you're looking at them and saying, when am I ever going to get there? And I thought that was a good tip, because it's like you're reaching for a goal that you feel like it's attainable, right? If you want to be like that. You mentioned a lot of obstacles, during your journey to in real estate investing, and I see that you didn't give up. I think a lot of people would have given up, especially for a vacant property for a year.
Oh yeah.
And we've encountered the same thing where, in real estate investing, I think, or any business, any entrepreneur, you're gonna encounter naysayers, or people that are gonna ask you questions like, you're borrowing money from other people, or, talk to us about what your mindset has to be like, and how you sort of overcome if anybody sort of try to like stomp on your dreams and, of financial freedom, for example. What do you say to them, or how do you counter that?
It's a lot, like, especially for us, like, working in government, you have the stable job, pension, and then you're talking about buying properties, and like, people kind of look at you like, what are you doing? Or even friends and family that they truly care for you. They're like, I've heard this on the news, real estate is bad and all that stuff. So you try to block that noise, and even for us, like we have an Instagram page, and we really thought about it a long time before publishing it, because we're like, oh my God, people are gonna say, what are you guys doing, and all that stuff. So all those limiting beliefs and not wanting to be judged, like those things come to mind. But then we're just like, we just have to keep pressing, and you will inspire some people by doing that. And if we don't do that, we may not have met you guys today.
Exactly.
Right. You're absolutely right.
And nobody questioned the page. All was wow.
People are inspired.
Everybody was inspired. We didn't get any negative feedback
You
at all.
attract a lot of people, and people wanting to learn from you and stuff. So it's been great.
Sometimes the negativity is in your mind, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, I do know that when I saw your page, I was inspired.
Good.
Oh my God, I need to reach out to them. So that's amazing. Honestly, I'm so happy and proud that you guys are doing this. A couple like us in Ottawa that we can reach out to, and we can drive, to and just like share a conversation. I hope that anybody who wants to start in real estate investing or entrepreneurship or just a different path that they have learned in school is just they know that it's possible no matter what. And you mentioned something multiple times, which is education, self-development. And without that, you will go nowhere. You must, yes, you can, learn from the school of hard knocks and try and fail and try and fail, but you will save years of just years if you actually educate yourself.
But one thing I've noticed with education and personal development is that society teaches go to college, go to university. But whenever we invite people to some of the workshops, or people are not interested necessarily. They're not ready. You have to be ready, and once they come, they're like, wow. But it seems to be hard for them because it's not an official institution. I don't know.
Right.
So it's like a whole weekend. But that weekend could change your life.
Absolutely.
It's an investment, and it's not necessarily money. Sometimes it's just time.
It's just
right.
So
good point.
It's interesting.
If you think about it, people will spend like 4 or 5 years in university for an undergrad, and they can't spend one weekend. I think they really got as good at school.
Yes,
Definitely.
Definitely.
And it's funny. It's interesting you mentioned that, because now, for us, our activity on the weekend is to do some type of a workshop. Like for us, like that, we look forward to that.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And like a year ago, like we couldn't say that, that's that actual statement, because we want to either travel or actually do something, like more social. Even though these workshops are social, but we want something that's more social. I guess more like less knowledge based, right? Yeah. More just a lot more leisure. And now it seems like almost every other weekend we're working on our budget, we're working on writing out our dreams, doing these vision boards, and then we are attending these workshops just to learn more different strategies on real estate. And it's interesting just having that shift from wanting to do those activities instead of just like laying on the couch and watching TV all weekend, right? So
and when you have a goal and you write it down, I think you're a little bit more intentional, a lot more intentional about how you spend your time, right? Because you see that goal, you pass by it every day, and you're like, wait a minute, how am I going to achieve that if I just sit on the couch, right? Yeah. So I'm big on definitely writing your goals, vision board. We're both big on vision board because we know that it's always in your subconscious, right? So that your actions really align with your goal. One last question that I have for you guys, not real estate related or anything like that, that we wanted to ask at the beginning.
Okay.
If you could take $5,000 a week for life or $5 million today, which one would you take?
I'm taking $5 million today.
Okay.
Invest in real estate, obviously. And maybe afford one trip or two, but invest in real estate for sure.
Awesome.
Same?
Yep. Okay. And would you put it in real estate?
Maybe not always, but definitely.
What else would you splurge on?
Yeah, a few trips.
A few trips. Yeah. Okay, life is short. So
Life is short.
Absolutely,
Then,
absolutely.
yeah.
we said the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I posed a question to Leonard and he thought the same thing. Definitely. $5 million invested because who knows what the future holds, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
awesome. So if people want to reach you, you know, they see this video and they're like, oh my goodness, this is a cool couple. How can they reach you?
They can reach us on our Facebook page, Milord Real Estate,
Okay.
as well as our Instagram page, Milord Real Estate. So MILORD Real Estate.
Okay, awesome. So we'll put it at the bottom of the screen so that people can reach out to us. Anything else?
I think that's a wrap, yeah.
Yeah, so this was amazing. Thank you so much for allowing us to come to your home and ask you these questions and share your knowledge and your journey with us. We feel very blessed to know you guys and to be part of the same group, you know, of investing. And I'm sure we'll do many more things together in the future. So our viewers, you guys heard it here. If you guys want to reach out to them, we'll put the Instagram tags and Facebook names so that you guys can reach out to them. So until next time.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.